The dome's artificial dawn flickered twice before stabilizing, as if even the sun was tired of showing up to work on Viola 9. Theo Marin, halfway through his third mug of synth coffee, muttered something unprintable about the engineers who designed it, conveniently forgetting that he was one of them. The colony hummed around him, a blend of human pragmatism and alien elegance welded together by duct tape and mutual confusion. Every airlock door groaned like it had opinions about the weather. He was ankle-deep in mud, trying to recalibrate a soil probe that kept reporting the presence of sentient vegetation. The first time it had said that, Theo thought it was a glitch. The second time, a prank. The third time, one of the vines had slapped him on the shoulder. "Friendly place," he grumbled, brushing green dust off his uniform. That was when she appeared quietly, like light refracting in a puddle. Karen moved with a balance that made the gravity look optional. Her long ears framed her face like silver crescents, twitching every few seconds as though they were tasting the air. She wore a soft exosuit that shimmered in the colony's haze, and when she spoke, her voice carried a subtle resonance, as if the atmosphere itself translated her thoughts before her words arrived. "You are damaging its neural roots," she said, kneeling beside the probe. Theo blinked. "The dirt has a brain now." "It remembers footsteps," she replied seriously. "If you step too often in one place, it grows anxious." Theo squinted at the soil. "That explains my love life." For a heartbeat, she stared at him, confused. Then, an uncertain curve of lips, like someone discovering what laughter feels like. "You use humor to avoid accountability," she observed. "Only when it works." He hadn't met many Ilari before. Most of them preferred the open plains beyond the domes. They were a mystery wrapped in politeness and photonic hair. Karen, though, was different. She kept asking questions about the drone systems, about human hydration habits, about why humans needed pillows to sleep. When he admitted he'd once fallen asleep on a reactor console, she tilted her head thoughtfully and said, "So your species finds danger comforting." He didn't know whether to laugh or defend humanity's pillow dependency. The day dragged on with sputtering machines and misfiring drones. Every few minutes, Karen would correct something Theo did, usually with infuriating precision. When he tightened a valve too far, she loosened it. When he tried to realign a stabilizer, she adjusted the opposite side. It was like working beside a serene storm. By evening, the air turned violet under the planet's double suns. They rested by a repair platform, watching the sky flicker with orbital dust. Thea handed her a canteen, and she examined it like it was an alien artifact. "You drink compressed hydrogen-oxygen mix voluntarily," she mused. "It's called water," he said. "We need it to live. Try some, you'll love it." She took a sip, blinked twice, and coughed. "It is disappointingly flavorless." "That's its charm." He didn't know why he liked teasing her. Maybe because she was so unshakably composed. Maybe because she looked at everything, even sarcasm, like a scientific specimen. So when she carefully adjusted the data console, ears twitching in concentration, the words slipped out before he could stop them. "You'd make an amazing wife," he said, smirking. Karen froze. Her ears went perfectly still, too still. Slowly, she turned toward him. "You offer union." Theo chuckled, thinking she was playing along. "Yeah, sure, I'll even do the dishes." Her eyes softened. "Then I accept." He laughed, mostly to fill the silence. "Right, sure you do." But she didn't laugh. She extended her hand, pressing her palm against his. A faint hum passed between them, a pulse of warmth that wasn't entirely metaphorical. His calm bracelet flickered, picking up a surge of bioenergy. "Whoa, what was that?" "The bond," she said simply. "Our agreement is sealed." Theo blinked, pulled his hand back, and inspected it like it might now glow in the dark. "You're joking, right? I do not jest with sacred contracts." He stared at her. "Sacred, Karen, I was kidding. It's a human thing, you know, humor, jokes, sarcasm." She tilted her head. "I understood only half those words, which half cancels the vow." For a moment, all he could do was gape. Somewhere behind them, a maintenance drone whirred past, recording the entire scene for the colony logs. Great. Tomorrow this would be breakfast entertainment. Karen looked untroubled. We will require a witness ceremony, I believe. Your people prefer group validation of emotional commitments. I prefer not being accidentally married. That preference was not disclosed earlier. Theo buried his face in his hands. Unbelievable. I just proposed to an alien in the middle of a dirt field. An anxious field, she corrected. Right, because the soil has feelings now. Karen's ears twitched again, which he was starting to recognize as her version of amusement. You are remarkably calm for a newly bonded mate. I'm remarkably numb, he muttered. She stood, brushing dust from her exosuit, and extended her hand again with formal dignity. Shall we return to your dwelling, husband? Theo almost choked. Let's us slow down a bit, yeah, maybe start with coworkers. Her ears flicked in what could only be described as polite disbelief. You initiate a binding ritual, and now you wish to demote it. It was a joke. Perhaps next time, define your intent parameters clearly. By the time they reached the dome, the colony's internal lights were dimming to evening hues. People waved and grinned at Theo, already hearing the rumor through the comnet. Someone even shouted, "Congratulations, Marin." Karen inclined her head graciously. Your people are swift with approval. Theo sighed, they're swift with gossip. That night he sat alone in his quarters, staring at his comm logs. A new message blinked on his screen, translation from a Lari council, formal union registration pending approval. His heart sank. He hadn't even had dinner yet. Outside, through the dome's translucent shell, Karen walked beneath the alien moonlight, her silhouette sharp and calm. Her ears glowed faintly, pulsing like twin signals in the dark. Theo leaned back in his chair, rubbed his temples, and whispered to no one. Next time I make a joke, I'm keeping my mouth shut. Somewhere in the night the soil rustled. Maybe it was anxious, or maybe it was laughing too. The colony woke early to news that Theo Marin had successfully secured an alliance with the Ilari delegation. That was how Command phrased it in the official bulletin, as if he'd achieved a diplomatic miracle instead of blurting out an accidental proposal. By the time Theo arrived at the workshop, half the engineers were saluting him like a hero, and the other half were betting how long his marriage would survive the first cultural misunderstanding. Someone even printed a banner that read "Congratulations, Ambassador of Love," and taped it over the drone hangar door. Karen, meanwhile, seemed entirely unfazed by the chaos. She was already there, standing beside the hover transport, ears twitching in the morning light. Your colleagues are very celebratory, she said. They're not celebrating, Theo muttered. They're waiting for me to trip over my own life choices. They honor your courage then. Yeah, let's call it that. The day's assignment was a joint human-Ilari environmental scan beyond the dome, an excuse for Command to showcase interspecies cooperation. Theo tried to keep things professional, but it was difficult when Karen kept referring to him as bondmate over the open comms. Every time she said it, someone on the frequency snorted. At least the terrain distracted him. Viola 9's surface shimmered like glass in the heat, with valleys that pulsed faintly as if breathing. The scanners hummed, tracing magnetic threads in the air. Karen crouched to examine a cluster of crystal flora, touching their stems so gently they began to hum back. They resonate with planetary memory, she explained. This one recalls a storm from 30 cycles ago. Theo crouched beside her, and this one probably remembers me stepping on it. It will forgive you if you apologize sincerely. He glanced at the plant. Sorry for existing, I guess. Karen smiled, an actual full smile that made her long ears tilt outward like wings. That is a promising beginning. The scanners picked up something odd beneath the surface. A metallic anomaly pulsing in rhythm with the planet's magnetosphere. Theo frowned at the readings. Looks like a power signature, too consistent for geology. Perhaps an ancient machine, she suggested. My people believe Viola once hosted the Builders. The Builders sounds dramatic. They created worlds, sometimes by accident. Relatable, he muttered, thinking of his own creation of this marriage. They followed the signal to a fissure glowing with faint blue light. Theo's suit sensors complained about radiation levels, but Karen ignored them and stepped forward. Her fingers brushed the stone, and a lattice of symbols flared to life, crawling across the walls like luminescent veins. "This place responds to life fields," she said. "It recognizes the bond between us." Theo raised an eyebrow. What now?" "The resonance of our shared biosignatures. The union link amplified it." He stared at the glowing walls. "So you're telling me my joke marriage just opened an ancient alien ruin?" "Correct," he groaned. "I can't even commit to gym membership, and now I've got cosmic property rights." Karen's expression softened. "The universe often rewards foolish honesty, or punishes it spectacularly." They recorded the readings and sent data to Command, who immediately panicked and ordered them to return for containment procedures. Theo pretended not to hear. He followed Karen deeper into the fissure, curiosity outweighing protocol. The chamber at the end pulsed like a heartbeat. In its center floated a crystalline sphere, rotating slowly in zero-gravity suspension. Karen extended a hand. "It is waiting for consent." "Consent for what?" "To awaken." Theo hesitated. "I'm starting to think half your species, technology, runs on romantic metaphors." She glanced at him. "Romance and quantum mechanics share many principles: unpredictable outcomes, entanglement, irreversible observation." "That's disturbingly accurate." Before he could protest, Karen placed her palm on the sphere. It pulsed once, then twice, and emitted a soft chime like a sigh of relief. The walls around them lit up, projecting holographic images, blueprints of structures orbiting a sun that wasn't theirs. Theo caught glimpses of ships the size of continents, drifting in formation like migrating whales. Karen's voice was hushed. "These are builder archives. My ancestors believed the builders seeded consciousness across worlds." Theo whistled. "So you just opened the galaxy's oldest USB drive." She tilted her head, unfamiliar with the term. "A storage relic, then yes, it is a large one." Before they could study it further, their comms erupted with static. Command demanded immediate extraction. Theo sighed. "Looks like they're worried we'll adopt another ancient artifact without filling the forms." Karen didn't move. "Let them worry, discovery requires risk." "Marriage too, apparently." She smiled faintly. "You are learning." When they finally emerged, the sky had turned amber. The colony sent a drone escort, flashing red lights like a disapproving parent. Theo trudged beside Karen through the dust, both of them silent until he said, "So, when this all blows up, can we tell them it was an accident?" "You already have a history of those," she said. "Great. My legacy will be unintentional miracles." That evening, Command debriefed them for hours. Karen answered every question with serene precision, while Theo tried to look like he hadn't nearly woken a god. Afterward, they sat together in the observation lounge, watching the twin moons rise. The silence between them was no longer awkward. It felt like shared mischief. Theo leaned back. "You know, if this thing turns out to be dangerous, we might have just doomed the colony." Karen's ears twitched. "Then at least we will be famous." He chuckled. "That's one way to look at it." She turned to him, studying his face. "You joke to soften fear. But fear is not weakness. It is proof you value what you could lose." He met her gaze. "And you talk like every sentence should be engraved somewhere." "Then perhaps we are well matched," she said softly. He wanted to reply with another joke, but the words tangled somewhere in his chest. Outside, the horizon shimmered with faint blue light, the echo of what they'd awakened. And for the first time since his accidental proposal, Theo wasn't sure the universe was laughing at him anymore. It might just be laughing with him. The summons from Earth Command arrived at dawn, stamped with 10 layers of bureaucratic anxiety. Theo read it 3 times before the meaning sank in. All human-Alari partnerships are under review pending assessment of cross-species influence. Translation: someone somewhere had decided that his accidental marriage might be a diplomatic hazard. The irony wasn't lost on him. He'd spent his whole life avoiding commitment, only to end up defending one to an interstellar tribunal. Karen read over his shoulder, her expression unreadable. "They question the legitimacy of our bond," she said softly. "They fear contamination." Theo sighed. "Contamination, because love's apparently a biohazard now." "They misunderstand resonance," she said. "Emotional frequency alignment strengthens cognition, not weakens it." "I doubt that's in their training manual." The hearing was scheduled inside the central dome, a sterile chamber lined with hollow panels and representatives from both species. Theo stood at the center, adjusting the stiff collar of his uniform while Karen stood beside him, calm and radiant in her ceremonial exosuit. Her long ears gleamed faintly under the artificial light, twitching only when the human adjudicator cleared his throat and said, "Engineer Marin, we understand you initiated this union through what you refer to as humor." Theo rubbed the back of his neck. "Technically, yes, it was a joke that got way out of hand. And yet the Alari consider it binding." Karen inclined her head. "Intent defines truth." His words carried sincerity even if wrapped in jest. Theo winced. "You're not helping my case, you know." The adjudicator frowned. "Are you aware of the potential psychological ramifications of interspecies bonding?" Theo exhaled. "Honestly, the biggest ramification so far is that I now have to explain sarcasm every morning." A few people in the audience snickered. Karen's lips curved slightly. "He also demonstrates improved emotional regulation," she added. "Fewer outbursts, less self-deprecation, increased empathy." Theo blinked at her. "You're giving me a performance review now." "I am providing evidence," she said. The hearing went on for hours. They questioned everything: his intentions, her biology, the incident at the builder site. Theo explained that they hadn't activated anything dangerous, just discovered an archive. When asked if his bond influenced the activation, he hesitated. Karen met his gaze and said, "The archive recognized our unity. The builders encoded their systems to respond to cooperation, not conquest." The chamber fell silent. For the first time, Theo noticed the faint pulse of blue light flickering through the walls, the same light they'd seen in the ruins. It was subtle, rhythmic, as if the planet itself was listening. An Alari elder rose from her seat. "You awaken what we forgot, harmony through foolishness. The builders would have approved." Theo frowned. "I'll take that as a compliment." The adjudicator looked uneasy, but finally declared that no violation had occurred. The bond would stand, conditionally observed for scientific study. Theo had never been so relieved to be treated like a lab experiment. Karen bowed gracefully, while Theo muttered something about needing a drink strong enough to sterilize regret. When they left the chamber, the air outside tasted fresher, lighter. The sky shimmered with faint ribbons of blue, the builder's legacy weaving through the clouds. Karen turned to him. "You defended us well." "I mostly panicked in long sentences." "That is a form of courage." They walked along the colony ridge, watching the horizon pulse. The anomaly they had awakened was no longer dormant. It was transforming the planet, subtly aligning its energy fields with the dome's atmosphere. Sensors reported improved oxygen quality, balanced radiation, even spontaneous formation of stable weather systems. Viola 9, once unpredictable, was finally becoming habitable. "Looks like the planet's calming down," Theo said. "Guess our mess accidentally saved the colony." Karen's ears tilted forward. "Accidents are often the universe's way of guiding intention." He laughed. "You always make chaos sound poetic." "It is. Without chaos, evolution would sleep." They sat on a rock ledge, the world stretching wide beneath them. For a while, neither spoke. Theo's gaze wandered to her hands, steady, graceful, still faintly luminous from the bonding pulse. "You know," he said quietly, "before you showed up, I thought connection was something you had to plan for, like an equation. Turns out it's more like gravity. You don't see it coming until you're already falling. Karen tilted her head, a soft smile touching her face. Then you have learned the Ilari principle of attraction. Yeah, but I still think I'm terrible at it. Then continue practicing. He chuckled, shaking his head. You make it sound like homework. All meaningful things are, she said. They watched the sky darken, the moons rising like twin witnesses to their unplanned future. Below them, the colony lights flickered alive, tiny, fragile stars clinging to a vast alien world. Theo felt a strange peace settle over him, a quiet understanding that he no longer wanted to run from connection, even the messy, unpredictable kind. When he finally spoke again, his voice was soft. You know, when I first met you, I thought your ears made you look like you were listening to things no one else could hear. Karen's gaze drifted toward the horizon. Perhaps I was listening for you. He swallowed a laugh that came out more like a sigh. Careful, that almost sounds like flirting. I am improving, she said. They sat until the wind grew cool and the stars shimmered like circuitry across the heavens. The planet hummed faintly beneath them, alive with new resonance. Theo leaned back, watching the constellations. So, what now? We rebuild, we explore, we keep being weird. Karen considered this. Yes, but together. He nodded, together. And as the night deepened, the hum of the builder's arc